It is the one thing every Spider-Man fan has been asking for. It's the one thing every Spider-Man fan has been praying for. It's the one thing every Spider-Man fan has been demanding. It's the one thing every Spider-Man fan has hoped for. It's the one thing every Spider-Man fan has said would really get people interested in the book again. It's the one thing every Spider-Man fan has said, please, please bring back. It is the one thing Marvel refuses to do. And that is the marriage between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. Marvel has no interest whatsoever in doing that again. They've made it absolutely clear that they have no interest in going back and reviewing that or doing that whatsoever. And it appears that Chris Claremont, legendary X-Men writer, agrees with them. Because why not, I guess? Go over a few things in this video from Party from Screen Rant. Spider-Man's wedding was a mistake. One Marvel legend is clearing the air about Peter Parker's love life. I, for one, don't understand the whole thing involving Marvel and their whole refusal to do it. I know why they won't do it. I just don't understand their reasoning behind it. If this is what the fans are telling you they want story, that is the one that, but you refuse to do it. You like to lose money, but that you out there telling people, no, if you had Tom Brevoort say that, if there was a way to make money, don't you think we would do it? I don't know what fan feedback he's getting, but that's what it is. It's been years since the couple's marriage was removed from continuity. According to writer-editor Chris Claremont, the move was a step in the right direction for Marvel. After all, when it comes to comic book couples, Peter Parker and MJ rank up there with Superman and Lois Lane. Yet another example of how this could work, because Superman and Lois Lane have been married for years in the comics and nobody has a problem with it. And according to Chris Claremont, is that it's not just Spider-Man marriage there's a mistake. Apparently, he says that whenever superheroes on the whole get married, that's a problem. It becomes difficult to write good stories and all of this. So all the people who are out there saying that they like Rogue and Gambit being together, I am very sorry. Like I said to you all, it's not going to last. This is what Marvel does. It's their only play. And you just have to ask yourself, how long is it going to be before they decide to make Rogue gay or Gambit gay or whatever? That's what they do. However, love has been a battle for Spider-Man, and after marrying the girl of his dreams, he was forced to give it all up. While many fans think the marriage's end was a mistake, the real mistake was the wedding ever happening in the first place, says Claremont. Why not? I tell you, boy. So case in point, Marvel Comics icon Chris Claremont fielded a question at Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, which why he had an issue with Mary Jane. Claremont denied he had a problem with Mary Jane, but contended it was a mistake for her and Peter to get married, admitting anyone other than Reed Richards and Sue Storm getting married under Marvel is a mistake. Yeah, so like I said, people, don't hope for Rogue and Gambit to be around for longer, because they're gonna ruin that. That's what they do. In Claremont's opinion, once a character like Spider-Man is married and settled down, he becomes less engaging for a reader. So the alternative is to have him be a miserable, pathetic loser with no job, no future prospects, no nothing, getting cocked by Paul, of all people, and just having his entire life be a waste of space. That is more engaging for readers. That is it. That is what you think is more. Look, it's one thing to toe the company line. It's another thing to toe the stupidity line. You understand? It's another thing to do that. And while I respect Chris Claremont as being the guy who really started to bring out X-Men to what's going on, I am not gonna and play that as something when it comes to it. I think heroes could get married, they could be happy, and they could have stories that tell that. Because one of the things that made Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Mary Jane being together so iconic and so good was that she was his rock. Peter would go out there, face threats, face things. Sometimes come back home bloody and beaten up. And Mary Jane would help patch him up. She would sit there with him. She would lie down to him. She would hold him, because that's what he needed. He needed somebody to be there who understood. Listen, I am Spider-Man. I have this need and this responsibility to help and save people. And yes, I get injured doing it. And I know that you are worried, and I'm sorry about that. But I would be more sorry and more miserable if I didn't go out there and use these powers to help people, because with great power comes great responsibility. And Mary Jane was there. Mary Jane was always such a good character because she was Mary Jane. Jackpot sucks because Jackpot is Jackpot. But this is the problem. You don't want that, and this is what's ruining everything that you're doing. Now, to be clear, Claremont is not the only creative at Marvel who took issue with Spider-Man's marriage. Marvel's former editor-in-chief Joe Quesada was infamously critical of Spider-Man and Mary Jane's wedding, believing that it aged the characters too much. Yeah, I just had nothing to do with the fact Joe Quesada was going through some kind of divorce or something, and I don't know, probably bitter as hell, but I don't get it because it didn't age the characters. When you look at Spider-Man's history in comic books, he was only in high school for a short period of time. Then he spent a few years in college, and then he moved right on to being an adult. And you don't really have a whole timeline thing when it comes to Spider-Man, because he and Mary Jane getting married were most likely in their 20s. How is that aging them up? They weren't freaking 60. You had plenty stories you can tell. And like I said, some of the best stories you got from Spider-Man was when he and Mary Jane were together. Now people can't even look at the Spider-Man books or read about it without vomiting. That's how bad it's gotten. While Peter and MJ's marriage was canon for a good 20 years, Marvel changed history with its controversial One More Day arc, which involved Spider-Man exchanging his marriage to Mephisto in order to save the life of a dying Aunt May, because apparently Doctor Strange was too busy. Yeah, apparently. A large number of fans have criticized this move, but Marvel Comics has largely stuck to the change because they don't care. They don't care. They're going to do what they're going to do. That's it. But when you look at Ultimate Spider-Man here, he's married to Mary Jane. They have 2 kids. And like I said, this is the draw for the comic. And don't think it. Marvel knows that to be true. They know the reason people are interested in this book is because Mary Jane and Peter Parker are married with kids. That's how they marketed the book, and they know it. They know that for a fact. Obviously, Claremont is a seasoned writer, and he certainly knows how to write compelling superhero stories. Plus, there's no denying the compelling nature of a romance that is not set in stone. A budding romance keeps fans emotionally invested, as they must see if love can win the day. Marvel subscribes to this theory, but it must be said the publisher underestimates the charm marriage can bring to a story. Just look at DC, okay? Superman got married to Lois Lane, and aside from a break caused by a reboot at one time, the Man of Steel's marriage is going strong. Yeah, yeah. What when they decided to go in there and frick it up with this whole thing with Bendis is coming, and then Lois Lane talk about how she went and rent some apartment somewhere, and Lex was stopping by because she was most likely banging him behind Superman's back, and the whole kind of crap about how she got lost in being a wife and mother. For God's sakes, woman. No, people like them being together because they like Lois Lane and Superman. That's the whole thing. Marvel's new Ultimate Spider-Man not only shows Peter married to MJ, but raising children with her. Yes, and that, as I say again, was the draw. The romance has become a key part of the Ultimate line, and to be frank, it has some fans preferring the universe to Marvel's own mainline continuity. Yes, that's the truth, because Marvel knew what they were doing when they did that. Claremont and Marvel Comics might think that Spider-Man's wedding to Mary Jane robbed him of something. Of what? Of what? Some of the best stories you got with Spider-Man was when he was married to Mary Jane. What? What did it rob him of? Nothing. Other than the fact, he was telling good stories, and you all are a bunch of idiots who didn't want that. However, the truth is that fans do want to see characters grow and evolve. Sure, there's something exciting about a fresh romance, but building upon a hero's history is just as exciting. Spider-Man's marriage may be seen as a mistake to some, but for many fans, his I do was the best part of Peter Parker's story. Exactly. This sells because of this family dynamic. Peter Parker and Mary Jane and their kids. People like that, and that is what Marvel marketed the book on. That's what they did. Destroying that whole marriage was an absolute nonsense. That's what it was. Absolute nonsense. One more day, one of the worst things that ever happened. People like these two together. Nobody gives a flying foot about she and Paul. Everybody hates Paul. Everybody hates Paul. But no one will believe that, I mean, like I say, Chris Claremont is entitled to his own belief. That's his business. But you cannot tell me that Spider-Man and Mary Jane being married was any kind of mistake. One of the best stories you ever got from Spider-Man was when these two were married. No, they'll never have me believe that. Marvel won't do it because Marvel wants Spider-Man with some kind of everyman character while they ruin his life to prop up Miles Morales, who will never get over because he's not Spider-Man or any of any of the other 100 or so, wall crawling weirdos all over the place. It's not gonna work, people. Period. Give the fans what they want, or just don't, and they will walk away. That's it. That's why the sales keep getting worse for all of you. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.